I wanted to provide you with an update on the government's commitment to protect religious liberty in Australia. Last week, the Attorney-General, Christian Porter, released the government's draft Religious Discrimination Act. This is a culmination of a number of years of debate about religious liberty in Australia, a debate that I have actively participated in. 2 years ago, I released my own bill to legalise same-sex marriage, but at the same time provide robust protections for religious liberty and other freedoms. Then, with other colleagues, I moved a series of amendments to the ultimately successful same-sex marriage bill in an effort to boost up the protections in that bill to be as strong as possible. Although we weren't successful in those amendments, that process led directly to the Ruddock Review into Religious Freedom in Australia. And it's the recommendations of that review that the government now seeks to implement in this new Act. The Act picks up on a number of issues that we were trying to address a few years ago. For example, it ensures that charities can't lose their tax status simply for advocating for a traditional view of marriage. It also ensures that the exemptions provided to religious organisations to decline to use their premises for weddings that were inconsistent with their teachings also now would explicitly include religious schools as well. But for me, I think the most important provisions in this bill are those which seek to protect freedom of speech. You cannot have religious liberty if you don't have free speech. One of the cases that this Act will seek to address is the case of Tasmanian Archbishop Julian Porteous. A few years ago, he was taken to Tasmania's Anti-Discrimination Tribunal simply for circulating a pamphlet which talked about the Catholic Church's view of marriage. This is a real problem. You should be able to talk about your view of marriage and others should be able to talk about theirs without fear of legal recourse. The bill will also try and address the matter of Israel Folau. It'll have a new requirement for large businesses to demonstrate that it would cause undue financial hardship if they were unable to restrict the freedom of speech of their employees outside of their employment hours. Crucially though, these protections for free speech are able for people of faith, but also people of no faith at all. We all have the same equal right to participate in a robust public debate about religion in Australia. The next steps here are really important. This is just a draft bill, and the government has released it for public consultation with religious groups, other community organisations, the opposition and other parliamentarians. Then the government will produce the final bill, which we'll introduce to Parliament, and that will be subject to the normal parliamentary processes, including a Senate inquiry. That's where you come in. If you support the government's bill, or if you have constructive suggestions about how you think the bill could be improved, it's time to have your say. Please write to me directly and provide your feedback, which I'll pass on to the government to make sure that we get the best possible bill out of this process. Thank you.